Hello dear students, we have been studying about the various types of mixture. We have studied the mixtures like solid in liquid, and then we have studied the gas in gas kind of mixture. We have studied the gas in liquid kind of mixture. Now we are going to study the mixture which is known as the gas in gas type. So we know about air. Air has a solute which is nitrogen gas, approximately 78%, which is a gas, 78% present in the air. The solvent is, oh, I have made a mistake. Actually, uh, this is what it is, the solvent, and this is what it is, the solute. So we know that we have solvent as a nitrogen gas, which is the 78%, which is a gas, and solute is oxygen gas, which is 21%, which is also gas. So it is a gas in gas kind of mixture. Air is a mixture which is a homogeneous mixture of many gases. Two main constituents are nitrogen, which is a 78%, and oxygen, which is a 21%. Your nitrogen is the solvent and oxygen is your solute, and this nitrogen is going to be the solvent. So this is how we can understand the gas in gas type of mixture. Now we are going to study the next type of mixture, which is known as the solid in solid kind of mixture. An alloy named brass is the solid in solid kind of mixture where the solute is zinc and the solvent is copper. Zinc is solid and copper is also solid. You know, copper is present in more amount and zinc is present in less amount. That is why this kind of mixture, or that is why zinc is called the uh, solute, and the copper is called the solvent. This is what it is known as the alloy, and alloy is nothing but the mixture of two or more metal or non-metal. The percentage of zinc that we can see here is hardly 30 percentage, whereas copper is present here as a 70%. So that is why copper is solvent and zinc is solute. So now we are going to study more about the alloys. So we'll first see the definition. An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or a metal and a non-metal. Let us see the properties of alloys. Alloy is a homogeneous mixture. Alloy cannot be separated into constituents by any physical method, but alloy shows properties of their constituents, and alloy can have variable composition, not fixed composition. Because of the point number 3 and 4, or because of the property 3 and 4, alloy are called considered as a mixture. They are not considered as a compound. And alloy is a homogeneous mixture, and that is why it is also called solution to. Alloy is a solid in solid kind of solution. Now we are going to study the properties of solution in detail. So let us study the properties of solution. A solution is a homogeneous mixture. The diameter of a particles of solution, that is a particles of solute in solution, you can say a particle of solute in solution, is less than 1 nanometer. That is, 1 nanometer is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So this particle are having the size less than 1 nanometer. Particles of solution cannot be seen with the naked eye, so you cannot see them with the naked eye because they are very small. Particles of solution do not scatter the beam of light, so if the light is passed through them, path of light is not visible. We have seen it in the activity that when we pass the light from the copper sulfate solution, the path was not visible. Solution do not show Tyndall effect. So as the path was not visible, they do not show the Tyndall effect. We'll study the Tyndall effect into the next video. The solute particles cannot be separated from solvent by the method of filtration. We have done the filtration and have observed that there wasn't any residue left on the filter paper. So This copper sulfate cannot be separated with water by the process of filtration, but can be separated by the process known as the evaporation method. So for solution we can use the separation method, which is known as evaporation. The sixth characteristics: the solute particles do not settle down when the solution is kept undisturbed for some time. So if we keep the mixture, which is known as solution, undisturbed for some time, the solute particles do not settle down. And the last one is solution is stable system. We know that the particles do not get settled down when left undisturbed for a long time, and that is how this this type of mixture, which is known as solution, is stable. We have just read a word which is known as the Tyndall effect. Now we are going to study about the Tyndall effect. When we pass a beam of light through colloid, particles of colloid scatter the beam of light, and the path of light in colloid is visible to us. This phenomena is called Tyndall effect. So when we pass the light through the colloidal solution, the path becomes visible. This phenomena is called Tyndall effect. The path of light in colloid is conical in shape, and the illuminated path in colloid is called Tyndall cone. As the path is conical in shape, and as it was observed by first the scientist named Tyndall, so the illuminated path is called Tyndall cone. Tyndall effect is first observed by the scientist Tyndall, so this effect is known as Tyndall effect. Now let us study an activity to study the Tyndall effect. So our aim is to study the Tyndall effect. The requirements are torch, two beakers, water, copper sulfate and milk. You can see the figure that we have taken two beaker. In one beaker we have copper sulfate solution, in another beaker we have milk plus water. We pass the light from the torch. The path in the copper sulfate solution beaker cannot be seen, but the path of light in the milk and water is, you can see, it has been illuminated and it can be seen. So the path of light is visible because the particles of milk and water, they scatter the beam of light easily, and this conical shape path is known as the Tyndall cone, and this effect is known as the Tyndall effect. You can easily remember that the path of light is not visible in case of the copper sulfate solution, but the path of light is visible in case of the milk and water. So we can say that copper sulfate solution, which is a true solution and it does not show Tyndall effect, but milk and water, which is a colloid solution, and it shows the Tyndall effect. We'll let us see the method. Take two beakers, fill one with copper sulfate solution while the other with mixture of milk and water. Take a torch and pass a beam of light through both the beakers. Observe the path and record your observations. So let us see the observations. We observe that the path of light is not visible in case of copper sulfate solution, but when a beam of light is passed through the mixture of milk and water, the path of light was visible. So what is the result? The result is copper sulfate and water makes a true solution, whereas milk and water make a colloid. Colloid show Tyndall effects. True solution does not show Tyndall effect. I hope, my dear students, you are enjoying your studies. Happy learning.